Alright, so this is another build-around submission for this time. The build-around requirement was Knight of the Reliquary, Tamiyo, and Terravor. I started with only 2 Terravors in here because I'm kind of expecting this card to kind of be Stains again. In this deck specifically, Terravor has tension alongside Uro. Uro also has tension alongside Knight, but at least when Uro is shrinking Knight, Knight's still there to act as a utility card and search up lands, whereas like with Terravor, when we exile lands, it just really doesn't do anything. A couple people in chat have been asking about 3-mana Teferi. I don't know, there's only so many cards you can fit into these decks. I wanted to fit in a number of ramp elements. We're playing Field of the Dead, so we needed to fit in 29 cards for the lands package. I think without this requirement, you could build a different kind of lower to the ground, maybe like a Maverick style deck to like place Teferi off of like Llanowar Elves as 3-mana things on turn 2, but I think with this requirement, I felt the need to go a little bit bigger. So I've got the cheeky Nexus of Fate in here, just like the Yarok field deck plays, so that way, once we're flipping over a bunch of cards into our discard pile, we eventually take all the turns instead of decking out. So let's go ahead and dive on into, actually, one thing I wanted to do to make sure I had, I think it might have slipped my mind when I was building this last night. There are not deputies of detention in my 75, and that is definitely a mistake. I want some deputies of detention so that way I can exile opposing hordes of zombies. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Look at that. Did the cancel button work? Oh. The rare Magic Arena cancel button being functional. The only time cancel will ever be good in Historic. Let's just add a Reclaimer command, because people are going to ask about Elvish Reclaimer every time we play this card. And I just don't want to sit here and repeat that it's a piece of garbage. Play good Magic cards, chat. You'll be happier and your decks will be better. Peak Magic is this a 29 land deck or 30? 29 lands, kept 2 lands, bricked off. Sounds good. I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. Do 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 do. Does your wife know that you get screwed by the shuffler on a regular basis? Do you have an open relationship? Asking the real questions. Please don't tell her. I cut the Nexus of Fate against an aggro deck. Oh, there's a Blast Zone in here. Maybe I should try and fit that in. Bump big dumb dinos for you, will do, Reckless. Thanks for the support. Are the basic you mean the land type cards? They're not basic lands. They also, like, they have a really big requirement. You have to have 3 lands of that type already in play for them to do something useful. Which I think that's a pretty big ask a lot of the time. Yes, Adamant MTG is I think they do YouTube stuff too. They're another content creator at the very least. John Dinos is actually pretty confident that that deck's gonna be good. My art guy sent me a banner for historic Merfolk and historic Dinos, so we can get those up on the website. More than 50% of the decks in the queue are historic. Yes. There is a reason why we are focusing on historic for the time being. I expect this channel to be 50% or more historic content until the next set releases. And we'll still keep doing some historic content when the set releases, but right at set release, standard content is the most exciting. I'm just naming Deputy of Detention here, because they have two of these 1/1s. Why is Standard bad right now? Standard's just solved, and the solved decks in Standard involve a slew of people unsummoning you at every possible opportunity. Almost all the best decks in Standard either play Embercleave, Teferi, or Brazen Borrower. So you're either getting combo killed or you're getting your stuff constantly sent back to your hand. I think I'm gonna play this and kill their Hadana's Climb this turn, because there's a chance if they put a counter on this with something else, they flip the climb, and then I can't flip the climb the turn after. I don't want Miley to get us here. Yeah, definitely, Wargy. Thanks for keeping me around. Gambling a little bit here. If they have a Gust or a Stroke, we could be in trouble. Hoping to hit an untapped land here so we can also Disdainful Stroke this turn. Getting paid off for our gamble. They could have something like Dive Down here. They could also have Brazen Borrower, speaking of. I think Naya Feather is super reasonable. Naya Feather has a really efficient clock, its creatures are evasive, and it gets to play Flame Sweep out of the sideboard to clean up zombies. I think if you like the look of the Naya Feather deck, it's still a reasonable choice. I'm gonna draw cards to smack me for 3. That probably makes sense since I'm at 20, right? Oh, there's getting in unblockable for 5. Okay, sure. There's 14 cards in my bin, and I hit the lands for this, which is great. You'll love to see it. Want to prioritize leaving lands in my bin in this deck, because I do have Knight of the Reliquary. Just for reference, chat, the deck's up on my website. My website is not like MTG Top 8 or Goldfish. When decks on my website stop being good, I take them off the website. Those are not static set them and forget them pages. Even if I don't play them on stream, I still think about how formats are changing, make updates to their sideboards, main decks if something glaring really needs to change, etc. So it's not like most Magic resources. Those are all living pages, and I do delete things from there as well as adding them. Although I do need to think about what I want to do with the standard deck pages. I think I might just put a warning up there for the standard deck pages that, like, as the format solidified, a lot of these decks are kind of medium. That's probably... I feel like I don't want to just delete all of them. Some of them might be reasonable shells to work on next season with updates, but I feel like a lot of the standard decks up there have not aged well as that format's matured. Well, the videos are kind of a log, Dows. But no, I don't keep a formal change log because that's just too much extra work. There's only so many hours in the day. Perfect, Socio Penguin. You think Kadana's Climb is good in this? It's probably too slow, Orgy. That sounds pretty slow and fair. I think Kadana's Climb is just like bad Embercleave. As much as it pains me to say that, it feels like bad Embercleave. What do you think of Arena having the option to buy wildcards? Did they announce that? That would be a huge deviation from what we have so far. You have a link on that? Are you asking me what do I think about Arena adding the ability to buy wildcards? Yeah, I was gonna say, you can buy wildcards currently, you just don't like the price. Rare wildcards are $6. Mythic wildcards are $18. And you get a bunch of extra cards that come with them for free that occasionally make the price cheaper because you open what you wanted to craft. But you can effectively buy wildcards in this application. My thoughts are you can already do that if you understand how the economy works. I'm going to use Knight to ramp here and jam Cavalier into play. Knight ramping is so good. I do love Knight of the Reliquary. Makes me sad that this card is unplayable in most other Magic formats. Hopefully it ends up finding a good home or two in this one. Syncopate for 1. Yikes. No, I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. Knight of the Reliquary is not playable in Legacy, sorry. people register Knight of the Reliquary in Legacy. That doesn't mean it's playable. Oh, pierce me, daddy. It's been a brutal set. I'm glad we had a deck of the day to start that was really good. Do we have time for a second, Tamiyo? Who knows? It probably doesn't matter. I assume nothing's resolving. They're basically just playing mono blue and splashed a bunch of merfolk in. No, the good deck was green-black field. Or green-black Citadel, sorry. It had a field in it, but it was green-black Citadel. Elvish Reclaimer sees Legacy play and is good. I don't believe you. I believe you that people register Elvish Reclaimer, but people registering Elvish Reclaimer is different than the card being good. Okay, those were pretty good hits. Oh, it's played in combo decks. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I was saying there's no way that card's good in Maverick style shells. It being a combo enabler makes a lot of sense. That I believe. It being a 3/4 will zero. Yeah, it's just crop rotation on a stick, right? That makes sense. My head went to Maverick, and like Maverick hasn't been playable in, I don't know, ever. Oh man, Twitch just rolled out a feature that lets you utilize channel points when voting for things to weight your vote extra with channel points. Thank you for all your generosity, Wargy. Hope you're staying safe in these crazy times. So it's like, need another deputy, huh? Well, okay. I should make sure there's still planes in my deck. There isn't, is there? My Glacial Fortress already in play. Sunpetal Grove comes into play tapped. Man, that's super awkward. I have to shock. And we're not just dead, but we're looking pretty dead here. Oh, I should have played this. I had a green source still. Didn't matter. Go to sleep, go to sleep. Do. Sleep's a really good card. Fantastical. Let's turn... The person that submitted this said we could cut the Terravores, which I don't think are particularly good. put some deputies in here. And trim a growth spiral, maybe. Get a little bit of interaction for the other field decks. I'm gonna throw a pair of Tefris in the sideboard. Might as well. I obviously don't get to watch press conferences while I'm here, but this is just like this timeline.
I was extremely busy, so if you have any question for him right now, could you do that? Because you know what I'd like to do? I'd like him to go back to the State Department, or as they call it, the Deep State Department, if you don't mind. I'd like to have him go back and do his job. So does anybody have any questions?
Somebody says, oh, God, it's just... Oh, yeah, I'm sure you need that. Everybody needs that link in chat. Hey, Adaman, thanks for the sub. Good games. Good luck on the rest of your laddering today. Hope you're having a good set. And keep this and bottom the island. The Deep State Department, if you don't mind. I'm doing swell. Playing a lot of historic stuff today. Been enjoying this format a lot. Refreshing break from a little bit of standard. More counterspell-based Merfolk build is neat. We played a more aggressive build on stream yesterday that felt pretty good. Yeah, Knight of the Reliquary seems like a really fantastic addition to this format. I wouldn't be surprised if it finds a good home or even multiple good homes, honestly. Feels like there's a lot to do with that card. Really just the fact that like it's like a pseudo mana dork that also can be a beater is just so powerful. This is... Anyone who's played Ghost Quarter long enough has had to do this at some point. The old Ghost Quarter myself to fix my colors. Has Thalia done anything? Not so far in this deck, but in the format she's felt pretty reasonable, I think. What do we want to name here? It's probably just Knight, huh? Like, I already have a deputy in my hand. Probably just, like, name a 4 of I don't have yet. Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's part of what's made Thalia good in lots of different formats, honestly, is the fact that she has First Strike.
Violence is impolite.
Violence is impolite. Ain't that the truth? So, I think I do Cavalier here, but like this is gonna put some more lands in my bin most likely, which is kind of troubling. So now that's a 7/7. Terravor is pretty good when I'm also dumping lands in the bin for them. I think I'm gonna downtick Tamiyo and pick up a land here. Is that crazy? I kind of want a land. Anyways. Well, I already have a deputy in hand. Do I really need another? I don't know, it's tough, Panda, because, like, Uro is a card, so, like, this Terravor is going to shrink really soon once I, like, play Terravor, or once I, like, play Uro and escape him. Like, their threat's going to disappear, right? It'll make, like, my Knight's worse down the line, but, like, again, Knight's still good even when it shrinks because it just provides utility. I think I'm honestly just not going to put anything on top of my deck for now. I don't think I'm interested in any of the cards in my bin at the moment. Well. Perfect. You love to see it. Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it. It gives your opponent choices in a kind of awkward way. Definitely agree with that takeaway. And, like, the opponent has a better board than us at the moment, but at the same time, they're almost out of resources, and we've got plenty, especially with Field of the Dead and Uro here. I'm assuming we don't want to use lands to escape here. I don't know, it depends. I mean, if they're not about to kill my Knight, killing my Field of the Dead doesn't really accomplish anything. This is one of the set of anime art sleeves that they did at one point. Daddy. Yes, Declan. We're gonna play a game after I'm done working tonight. I promise, buddy. I love you. Oh, sometimes Uncle CJ's busy too, bud. We gotta be patient.
Well, he was playing with me until he just put in the practice mode. Well, I can't change from practice mode because CJ did it.
Have. Oh, Declan. Is there a reason you didn't play Wall of Roots? Just bad. It's also still bugged, but it is just bad. It's definitely bugged, but even, like, the bug doesn't really stop it from being functional for the most part. The card's just not good. Definitely didn't shut the door. It is very cold. We just have the four of us here, Top 10 Hammer, and we're very fortunate. Space is very cheap in the Midwest, so, like, our home is like 3,000 square feet. Plenty of space to not be constantly on top of each other. Reckless, I think I am by no means qualified to speak to details like what you're asking me about. I would encourage you, as always, to defer to actual professionals with regards to things like that.
I'm good at what I do.
And what I do is win.
Our home, when we closed at the beginning of last year, was a little under 300,000 here in the middle of Illinois.
You'll have to try harder than that. Pity we couldn't have been allies.
Interesting that they wanted this back more than they wanted to kill either of my other things here. I think I'm out of basics. You think? Yeah, looks like it. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 differently named lands. Night providing an endless supply of Field of the Dead zombies is kind of great. Oh, doing that pre-combat means that this is big enough to eat this? That's fine, we'll just throw my zombies at Vraska. Yeah, the deadline to file. Chris and I'll probably wait to file then. All of my Twitch work is 1099, so we owe them money at the end of every year. Oh! Their black permanent died, so Elder died. That's great. Yeah, so this is power into up to equal number of colors among permanents you control. So it was a 3/3, and then it died. But your talkie box, man, I want to hear reckless conjecture and pseudoscience. Thalia doesn't really seem like it impacts a lot of what they're doing. They had a lot of green stuff. Aether Gust seems great. Crucible World's probably useful here. I bet they have like some Ghost Quarters and Field of Runes of their own. We saw a Ghost Quarter that game, so yeah. I didn't have the colored mana sources to recast it, Kuntz. Their deck seems more mid-rangey. I don't mind cutting Grazer against other mid-range decks. We just bring in more cards that generate some actual card advantage. I'll leave in one cheeky Grazer. The cheekiest of non-borderless Grazers. And before drawing Grazer, I mean, if there's one Grazer and it's in our opening hand, that's just like the Stone Cold Perfects, right? It's like everything we want and so much more from leaving the cheeky Grazer in. The state forbids people to go outside because of Corona. Is that a state-based action? Ba-dum-tsh. The Labor Board suspended all union elections indefinitely today. Good. As I've said on stream recently, I felt it was incredibly irresponsible for all of the states, including my own, that held primaries still last week, or earlier this week, sorry. Growth Spiral, in it to win it. This gives us some stuff in the bin for Uro here as well, which is great. Every day feels like a week. It feels, I don't know, time is just weird, especially when you don't leave the house. It feels fast, but it also feels slow at the same time, I feel like. It's not a particularly useful comparison, but it's where I'm at in life. Yeah, in for that one. Need to go Field of the Dead tapped here into a 3-drop this turn. And we'll get to go Forest Cavalier of Thorns next turn. Gonna lead on the Knight of the Reliquary here, so that way if they don't have a removal spell, we can start activating Knight next turn. 2020 has been the longest 10 years of my life. Hours go by quickly, days pass slowly. That's a really elegant way to put it, Dan. So roaring 20s because we're all about to scream something. Pulse me. Cast Maelstrom Pulse. Do it. Do it. Cast Maelstrom Pulse. You know you want to. You know you want to. Oh. Oh. You got me a present? You shouldn't have. Turn my Knight of the Reliquary into a ramp spell? Don't mind if it does. Your work finally went to single-person shifts as New York issued a 100% non-essential worker stay in. What do you do for work, Shadow Kid, if you don't mind me asking? All right, chat. Chat. With this trigger on the stack, you can Bajuka Bog them with Knight. Does that work? No, that doesn't work. But the turn, they could... Is there a Bajuka Bog in my feet? I feel like there's a Bajuka Bog. No, this is the Terravor card. This is how you make Terravor playable. We found the meme. How has no one recommended that? I am incredibly disappointed in all of you, chat. How is this in Terravor not been submitted? How is it that like wasn't even on my radar? Like that wasn't even like on the list of things I'd been thinking about? Oh, I played a lot of Knight of the Reliquary with Devastating Dreams. Knight plus Dreams is something... I have a lot of... Knight of the Reliquary plus Devastating Dreams paid for my wedding reception, chat. It's good. Good times. Good times. I'm going to be incredibly disappointed with my opponent if they don't Bajuka Bog me here. You could also play... Oh, no! Oh, no, I have to shock now. Oh, that's awkward. That's definitely how that card works. Shame. 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 Bajuka Bog. What? Excuse me? I found these down the back of the sofa. I hear they fall like Thran and Terravor. Thank you for your absurd generosity. Bob, I appreciate it. I'll be at the top of the next historic portion. Thanks for keeping me around. Alright, I already have a Temple Garden, so we'll get Forest here. Wow! How did I bet? Is there a Bajuka Bog in their hand? There has to be a Bajuka Bog in their hand, right? Perfect, Bob. Yep, I plan to be live Sunday this weekend. So again, for people that haven't been keeping up, I am planning to pivot my schedule a little bit with everything that's been going on in the world with my kids being home. So my wife is currently working from home as well, and she's mostly been wrangling the children herself. And our plan is to have me start working on the weekends a little bit, so that way she doesn't have to wrangle kids while she's working all day. Need to like strike a balance of what I'm leaving in here for Cavaliers, but also lands for my Knights later. I think I also boarded in 2 copies of Crucible. The world's fairest Fall of Thraben deck, right? Don't make another move. Oh, buddy, old pal. Oh, buddy, old pal. Was that a good one, chat? How do we feel about that one? Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. Never forget, Maddie, the shuffler's as rigged as the earth is flat. If they would have had a Bazooka Bog, they could have prevented most of that. Man, Fall of the Thraben Terravor. My wheels are turning, chat. There's a lot of things to do with that workspace. A lot of things to do with that workspace. Yeah, this hand needs a blue source, but I have a Scryland, and if I miss the blue, Knight can search it up down the line. Fun and checking out some of their options on the other side of the board. Bottoming anything that's not a blue source here. Will do, Space Herring. You too, Adamant. If you're other folks who like good arena content, you should click on Adamant's name there, by the way, and give them a follow. They stream a good bit of Constructed as well, from what I've seen when I've hosted them in the past. Think we're dead. Sarnook, thank you for the 15 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Let's play this before we fetch here. I'm so used to watching on YouTube, I instinctually went to pause the VOD. I think we're just like digging for Cavalier at this point. Why is Tempest Jin bad against Field of the Dead? Can you explain, Space Herring? I would think Tempest Jin is good at closing the game out. If they didn't have Tempest Jin here, I'd have a lot more time to recover, right? Yeah, we're super dead. Oh, huh? So I put a bunch of Aether Gust in this sideboard, but I don't have any other traditional cheap removal, right? I think I'm going to cut Tamiyo and Nexus here, obviously, because they're pretty expensive. I'm going to bring in a couple of Tefris. And I think I'm going to bring in a couple of Knights to gain some life, but I think I should have Baffling Ends in my sideboard. And I'm going to make that swap after this game, after this match. I should probably have a, you know what, there should be a Blast Zone in my mana base too. I think I have 2 Ghost Quarters, and one of them should definitely be a Blast Zone. Man, Magic Player Takes on Twitter. I actually just had someone tweet at me that Ashiok Planeswalker, the 3-mana static text Ashiok is more impactful than Teferi or Narset, which is an interesting take on the static Planeswalker text conversation. They're probably like a Valakut Titan player who's just been personally hurt by the card multiple times. Yeah, no, they're talking about the static text, not the activated ability. I think I'm just playing Knight here and gaining 4. Just to use my mana this turn. Did Marty have someone scape shift while he had an Ashiok out? Because that's great. They sacrificed their entire board. That's great. Red-Black Titan with main deck Ashiok is probably just like pure gasoline in this format right now. There's only 2 cards in my bin at the moment. If this finds a land I don't already have in play, I get to start turning on Field of the Dead, which is nice. So, in the realm of awkward, our many colorless source mana base is currently missing the 3rd green. We could Ghost Quarter ourselves, but the problem with that is it puts us 2 lands away from activating Field of the Dead at that point, and there's a good chance this Cavalier of Thorns doesn't even resolve. So I feel like Ghost Quartering myself to cast a spell that might not resolve doesn't seem particularly good. They're tapping out for Tempest Jin, and we stuck the landing. Sick. GG. And then I get to Deputy of Detention, their Tempest Jin to boot. Was the Fabled Passage a good draw? Check yes or no. And then, it's been so long since we've played Modern that it's been a while since I've had this awful opinion spewed at me. But I definitely just blocked someone on Twitter who had the opinion that Blood Moon punishes greedy mana bases. That's about as real, that's about as based in reality as Republicans are fiscally conservative. Blood Moon punishes mana bases. You don't need any more than that. It just punishes people playing Magic. As someone who's played like a 2-color blue-red deck who's gotten Blood Mooned off to second color on more than one occasion, like, stuff happens. It's been so long since I played a bunch of Modern that I haven't heard that garbage fire of a take in a long time. It's been a moment. Well, actually, a couple of the Republican GOP members are trying to talk Trump out of giving actual people money. Because they don't want that to happen. They could have double dispute here as their last 2 cards. My wife said, based on local reports, that a lot of grocery stores around us had recovered their stock too, and that some of the higher end ones, like Hy-Vee, never even really went that low. Like, Walmart near us got completely cleared out, but like, Hy-Vee kept stock up, I believe I was told. All right, on to game the 3rd. Very pivotal 3rd green source for the Cavalier to steal that one for us. Fresh meat was low in many places. I don't have an issue looking for that one. All of your WI representatives voted against that relief. Yep. They don't want to give money to normal people. They want to bail out big industries like the airlines, like the cruise industry. Fall of the Thran plus Terravore, and Fall of the Thran plus Bajuka Bog, Knight of the Reliquary. I think if I had one piece of acceleration, I'd keep this. Because, like, field, they can't counter. I think this is just too slow. Says a couple of temples on the draw. Let's do it. The grocery store next to you went out of stock on dry goods. And then they had a shipment come in today and then they went out of stock again. Wild. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of variation in what's available and what isn't around the country. And I'm sure the larger cities are having more stock issues than the smaller ones. I mean, going shopping in the morning is probably worse for contact, though, right? In terms of how many people are there, if everybody's going in the morning. Because there'd be more people there together in the morning. If that's the idea, that everybody wants to get there when it opens. Do I have enough time to use this? I might with these two. I'll leave that there. He paid to drop a cut the line in for next time war game. So we get to kill their enchant creature, and then this can trade in combat with the Merfolk Trickster. Because some people really like playing mono blue, Mr. Photon. Don't yuck their yum. One of the best things about Magic is the wide range of play patterns that it offers, especially in older non-rotating formats like this. There aren't really decks like what the opponent is playing available in Standard at the moment. As a person jobbing in the supermarket in Germany, I can confirm that there's way too many people going shopping at the same time in the mornings. I don't think I want to redraw that. I'd rather draw a ramp spell. I mean, a shelter in place order is a far cry from martial law. What are your thoughts on Simic Flash versus Mono Blue Tempo? Both are counterspell tribal. I prefer playing against Mono Blue a lot more because Mono Blue doesn't really have, like, the Night Pack Ambusher style threats. If that makes sense. Them sacrificing their thing to counter my trigger is pretty loose. Because now, like, if I draw a Teferi, I can play Teferi, bounce my own Deputy, which would be pretty good for me. I'm doing this during their upkeep, so this way if they have a counterspell, they have to counterspell. Then, rather than on my turn and then get to untap. This is my 2/2. There are many like it, but this one is mine. When we drop the second Field of the Dead next turn and make 2 tokens, it should likely end the game. Unless they find, like, a Tempest right away. Go ahead and just run them down here. Someone was talking about the merits of the opponent's archetype or not. I think one of the big upsides the opponent's archetype has over the blue-green builds is that the opponent's deck, what's the word I'm searching for? The opponent's archetype gets to fly over Field of the Dead tokens. While Nightpack Ambusher goes a little bit wide, it doesn't quite go, like, it's not quite go wide around Field of the Dead wide. I also think that in general, like, decks like mine, Field of the Dead existing, makes the opponent's archetype a lot less offensive in general, just because it like their archetype has something that preys on it and doesn't care about their counter spells. Well, shoot. That doesn't matter. We're dead though, right? Because they have 7 in the air. Close. Jonah Ares, thank you for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. I appreciate that. I think I want some sweepers in my deck. I don't know. Part of me thinks that, like, I don't know that, like, I kind of feel like what we're doing here is probably just bad. It's probably just bad Golos, right? Like, like, what is the meaningful difference that, like, what this shell is trying to accomplish versus, like, what Golos Field is trying to accomplish is the question I kind of want to ask myself. And I don't know that I really have an answer to that. I don't know that Knight really feels like it adds a ton of value here. Some people hate Golos. I mean, though, they can play Yarok Field, right? This was actually a build-around submission for Knight plus Tamiyo. And I feel like once you include Tamiyo with Knight, you kind of push the deck in the direction of needing to be more mid-rangey and bigger. There might be more aggressive Bant Knight deck that, like, plays Land War Elves and maybe Gilded Goose. Could see that maybe. A lot of different things you can do. All right, at any rate, we are going to roll along to one more historic deck for today. I'm going to hit a quick ad roll while I get everything flipped over and set up for the next one. And when we get back, we are going to stomp on over some people again with some big dumb Jund dinos here. Dumb Jund dinos carrying big giant swords. Be back in just a few. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.